Well, hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to As Above, So Below, a rune and tarot divination for Monday, the first day of January 2024. Well, we made it, didn't we? I hope everybody had a good holiday week there. It's a weird though time for me. I don't know if it is for any of you, but it's like that period between Christmas and New Year's Day. It's like no man's land. I rarely even know what day of the week it is, especially like if did what I did this year and the year before I take the week off. I have no idea what day it is. So it's I don't know. It's just weird. It's like you're kind of in limbo. So probably best I do take it off anyway. One thing I wanted to talk about before I take the runes here, I'm going to do a little bit different reading today, given that it's the first day of the new year. One thing I wanted to say though before I do that, Mercury retrograde ends today. There will be a shadow period for about a week after. Always before and after there's a shadow time, and so if things don't settle down for you, if you are affected by Mercury retrograde, I was this year. But a lot of the time I'm not, but if you are, just know it's that shadow period that you're experiencing. We have last quarter moon on Wednesday, but today's numerology to begin the year actually works out to be 1 for 2024. The numerology is 8, and 8 is about leadership. It's about material recognition and approval. So this could be a year for a lot of people where they experience maybe moving into a leadership role, or taking a leadership on something, or maybe getting a promotion at work or something, or where at least you're recognized for your talents and your contribution. So this will be an interesting year for that. Given that this is the first day of the first month, that comes out to 1 and 1 is 2. So 2 and 8 is 10. 10 reduces to 1. So again, for today, we're talking a real reinforcement for new beginnings or new opportunities or something like that. Now, what I want to do differently though today for the year, I'm going to do a year reading, and how I'm going to break that down so I don't have a whole lot of cards to go through. I'm going to go ahead and do the runes as the overall focus for the year, the same way I do, and then instead of 3 cards, I'm going to take 4, and each one will represent a quarter of the year, so 3 months at a time. And so just kind of gives you a little bit of an outlook for the kinds of things you might be experiencing during each quarter, or the focus you may have during that time as we're in this year of material recognition and approval and leadership and greater harmony. So let's go ahead and take the Elder Futhark rune for the above side of things, the higher self side of things. Well, it's Alyes. This means the elk or the elk sedge. It reminds me of raising your hands in supplication to spirit. You know, when you stand there, when you're drawing down the moon, you know, you're raising your hands up. Well, you're creating the 3 points, you know, with your arms and your head. So, but here, what this means is you're drawing. It's the 15th rune of the Elder Futhark, and so it has a 6 numerology. So assistance and guidance and compassion and empathy. But it's also the bridge between physical and astral realms. It reflects drawing down higher consciousness and divinity into our awareness, because that's what we are. You know, we get confused or caught up in the moment of things and in the reaction of things, and that's the ego side, and we'll take the Geomancy rune to illustrate that. But this is talking about really having an awareness of higher consciousness this year. To see things from a higher perspective instead of one that is so reactive, because of late, well, if you want to count maybe since say 2016, 2015, that's all that's been happening. It's been one big reaction after another without really understanding the truth of the situation. Believing people that are conning people, and having so much in terms of news that is not even remotely true. And I don't understand how, especially in a news organization, that can happen, but we see it now. And it seems to be, instead of actually reporting the facts, they report whatever opinion they want you to have. And that's not the same thing, right? as many of us know. So the idea here with all ye's is to allow the fundamental truth to come in and to really understand what's going on, to do your due diligence, to take leadership in that respect. But let's go ahead and do the Geomancy rune for the year. Oop, well, there goes one of them. All right, let's see what we have. We have a single dot for fire and air, or rather for water and earth, rather. For fire and air we have 2. So we have Fortuna Major. So again, with the 8 numerology for the year, Fortuna Major is greater fortune. Now, greater fortune can be a lot of different things. It can mean money. It can mean, wealth. It can mean an increase that way. But it can also mean what you value and what is, so maybe there could be some movement on the family front, for example, if there have been issues with the family, into a way that's more positive, so that everybody starts to realize that, all we really have is one another, and we need to value that. So that could be our greater fortune. But this is on the one end of that type of equation as to what fortune means. This would be lesser fortune. This would be Fortuna Minor, its complement, and that would be progressive steps. Whereas a Fortuna Major is like a sudden windfall at the end. It's the successful ending of something. So again, when you couple that with Alyes, I think that what it's really saying is that our greatest fortune is who we are as spirit, and as expressions of the Creator into form. That's our greatest fortune, not the reaction to the ego stuff that's going on around us. That's not even remotely fortunate. It's other than to teach us that our greatest fortune is in our spirituality and our understanding of who we are as projections of the Creator's consciousness into form. So that's the elevation that we need to have here this year. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to shuffle just a little bit more. I've been shuffling because I wanted to make sure that I got as clean a reading as possible. I don't want to bring anything really in from last year. I think that we have a pretty good idea of what last year was all about, and we'll just see about this year. Let's cut the deck. We'll take the lower half. And again, the first card is I'm going to leave them in the order that they are. I'm not going to move them around. The first one is going to be the first quarter, the second quarter, and so forth. All right? Okay. So what we have here, we start out with the Page of Pentacles, move to the 8 of Swords, then the Hermit, and then the Wands, the 3 of Wands. And I think I need to probably move my tea back a little bit here so I can see what I've got here. All right. The Page of Pentacles. Excuse me. Well, first let's go and do the numerology for this first. So there's no number associated with the page, so it would be an 11. Let's see, let's go with an 8 plus 9 with the Hermit plus 3 equals 20. So again, 20 reduces to 2. And 2 is going to be about reciprocity and love and balance and healing. So having the ability, again, to see things from a higher perspective helps you heal and bring to balance that as above, so below energetic flow into your awareness. And so it's kind of an interesting reading. We're really kind of dovetailing here with new beginnings, with the 1 numerology for the day, the whole day, the month, day, year, and then a 2 for the reading. I think we're still in alignment with that. The idea of Alyes really bringing it's one of the true as above so below runes. There's several in the Elder Futhark, again, I think it's bringing that awareness into our lives, everyday lives, and seeing things from that perspective instead of getting caught up in the ego's reaction. But let's talk about the Page of Pentacles. Now, pages are the youthful a person in the court. You've got the page, the knight, the queen, and the king. And so the king and the queen are naturally the oldest people in the reading, or rather in the court, I should say. And the knight's going to be somebody that's already gained his experience and his education, and he's going out and he's doing things and being productive on behalf of people or behalf of the king or whatever. More of a protective role in a sense. But the page is a student or a messenger. And here you have a very spiritual individual. He's holding his coin up. He's trying to figure out what he values in life. He has a spiritual focus. He's, being that it's pentacles in the earth element, he's reliable and dependable. He's studious. He's conscientious. And so in the first quarter of 2024, we want to be the student at that in that time, to where we're starting to really learn some things, learn some fundamental truths that impact our personal lives ultimately. This is an election year, and so you may start to see some things come out in the first quarter of this year that give us a little bit more information about all of that, and the type of role we want to take within that. Maintaining some kind of a dependable outlook about things instead of being influenced by propaganda and lies. That wouldn't be a very good use of the Page of Pentacles energy there. But that's probably what we're going to be seeing in the first quarter, is things that are going to ground us in truth, if you will. And exploring the truth in a way that really makes sense for our lives, instead of the emotional reaction that we seem to be caught up in. We've got to let go of the emotional reaction here and start getting ourselves a little more grounded in truth. And the Page of Pentacles, to me, signifies that. So that's what we're looking at in the first quarter. Now, moving on to the Eight of Swords. This card can be interpreted a variety of ways, but I look at it pretty much consistently as turning off the noise around you, even of your own egoic thoughts, and trying to go within and assess things from a higher perspective, basically one that has nothing, going way far within, and that's not dependent upon what's going on around you or what people are telling you or the expectations of others or whatever. If you've thought a certain thing, in other words, and suddenly you realize, you know what, I'm not so sure about that. So whatever happened in the first quarter, where you started to become grounded in truth, it might be in the second quarter of the year. It might be something where it takes some inner strength to let go of perceptions that don't serve you and to find a higher truth there. You know, here you see the woman who's bound, who's bound and blindfolded. She's surrounded by 8 swords. She's got one foot on the sand. You can see the one foot here on the sand, and the other foot seems to be in the water. So there's some changeability there. There's some modification. There's some flexibility that can happen. Still, while she still wants to stay connected to the fundamental truth of things, but maybe she's reconsidering what that is. And so in the second quarter of the year, we may be doing that. We may be, after we've grounded ourselves in truth, and you start to understand that maybe what you thought is no longer really working for you. You've got to turn all of it off, and you've got to think your own thoughts, and you've got to go within to do that and raise your consciousness. Use Al-Yiz to do that, to draw down higher awareness into what you believe and into the truth that you hold. Is it a higher truth, or is it a truth that somebody else needs you to believe in order to advance their own purposes, which may not be based in truth, may all be based in the agenda maybe of some other influence that they're beholden to. You see the chain reaction that happens. Eventually, see, it gets down to you and I, and we have to decide, well, what are we going to believe here? Because this doesn't seem right anymore. You know, and maybe I've been, a little hoodwinked here. I've been persuaded to believe something that really has, I mean, it's so far removed from even what the person is who's trying to tell me this stuff, right? It's somebody else who's controlling the strings. And so it's that idea of turning it all off because it's just too much. Even letting go of your own past beliefs that maybe you've started to realize in the first quarter of the year just really aren't relevant. And so now you have to figure out what that is. The only way to do that is to turn off the noise around you and to go within. And that may be something, a process we're going to be doing in the second half of, or not the second half, the second quarter of the year. And then once you do that, in the third quarter of the year, you've got a 9 here for the Hermit, and this is a major arcana card, so you're looking at a soul archetype card. So again, this is really higher self saying, all right, now that you've understood some things in the first half of the year, now we have to put that all the past stuff, we have to put that to rest, put it to bed. It's no longer relevant. And like the Hermit goes up very high in the mountains. You can see he's there in the snowy peaks. He's got his lantern there with a Merkaba lit inside of it. So he's drawing down messages from spirit into his awareness, higher consciousness, the oversoul, the higher self. Into his awareness here. He's got his staff in his hand. That's an expression of will. So this is a willful thing to do. This is being done with intention in the third quarter of the year, where you go within and you really start to understand the inner voice, the silent counsel, if you will, the divine wisdom, and the caution you need to take when you're looking at reality below that is simply a mishmash of egos coming into play and responding to one another. This is really about gaining the higher wisdom. So you see it with all ye's. You see it with the what you need to do with the 8 to gain higher wisdom, to turn off the irrelevance around you and to really focus in on who you are as spirit. And then in the Hermit, you retreat from all of it. So a lot of things are beginning to gel in the third quarter of the year here in a very spiritual way, and you're beginning to understand that the truth you've now are beginning to embrace is something that's higher. It's not ego-based. It's really about who we are here and what we're doing here as aspects of the Creator. What are we trying to create here in form? Is it simply to react to everything? Or is it to bring in that higher awareness and create change from that perspective? And all of this is beginning to gel during the third quarter with the Hermit. And then in the fourth quarter, we have, how are we doing on time? We're doing pretty good. How we do here in the third quarter with the 3 of Wands. Whereas in the 2, he's looking in the opposite direction. There's only 2 staffs there. He's holding a globe in one hand as he's looking out over the expanse and going through a metaphorical doorway, with, if you will, made by the two staffs. I mean, he's essentially doing the same thing here. Here are 2 staffs that are more fixed, and here is the staff he was holding in the 2. But he's made his decision in the 2 of Wands as to where he's going to go, what new opportunities he's going to embrace to make his way in the world. Well, here he's walked through the doorway, he's made the decision, and he's waiting for his ship to come in, basically. He's waiting for the decision he made in the 2 to manifest in a very, with the 3, a way he can communicate with others, a way he can integrate with others. The message he's bringing to other people. 3 is a number of communication and intellect and interactions and all of that. And so here you see some boats in the yellow water. So there's lots of opportunity. You see the yellow sky, very vibrant, very motivating. Wands, it reflects the fire element. Wands is fire element. Suit, and so lots of dynamic energy here with this card, and he's really trying to manifest a better future for himself. And so we can say then in the reading, as we're trying to figure out what our greater fortune is, it's our resonance in higher awareness and our resonance in spirit. and drawing that higher consciousness, the collective consciousness, into the decisions we make, into how we see the world around us, how we see our experiences as souls in these bodies around us. And so again, we'll just repeat it. We'll read it all in one sentence, basically, or one long run-on sentence, maybe. But with the page, we've grounded ourselves in truth, and we're trying to figure out what's the real deal here in the first quarter. We're trying to understand the messages that are coming in, and the truth that's being told. And if it happens to be something that has never comported with what we thought before, we need to examine that. And we do that with the 8 of swords, where we go within and we examine all of that, and we figure out, okay, where do I really stand on this? What should my beliefs be? What do I need to reject out of hand as a bunch of nonsense that unfortunately somebody conned me into believing? You can look at it that way. And it takes a tremendous amount of inner strength with the 8. The 8 is about strength again. This is, given that this is the 2024 year, is a number 8 numerology. Again, strength, leadership, harmony, greater harmony. In other words, understanding the fundamental unity that we all experience together, whether we want to or not, as souls here on the same planet. We come from the same source to do that. And so we're playing out all these roles and all these lives and everything that provide a catalyst for learning. Well, if we just stay there, what have we learned? Ultimately, it comes down to preferring truth over fiction, essentially. Real fundamental spiritual truth over the ego's reactionary type of perception that is really subjective and judgmental. You get there by passing judgment instead of trying to see the overall picture and understand the real soul message involved with it, right? And then from there in the third quarter, we take all that and we retreat a little bit. And we try to become a light for the world so that the world understands the greater truth of what's really going on this year. To understand that we need to find a way back to one another spiritually, instead of having this, fight continually is totally ego-based. It's not necessary, and with the hermit, you're withdrawing to really go in and achieve that inner counsel, that inner truth, that I think the Page of Pentacles and the 8 of Swords has brought us to in the first half of this next year of 2024. And then from there, in the final analysis, the final quarter, we can look toward manifesting something really profound in our lives, a way that integrates us with other people instead of keeping us at loggerheads. So maybe during the first 3 quarters of the year coming up here, maybe we really understand what the truth of things has been all this time. And we just naturally move in a direction that's more based on our greater fortune, which is that integration we have with one another, that understanding, that collective understanding that we're part of the same collective consciousness, that we are here to learn things with one another and catalyze that learning, maybe in provocative ways, but it doesn't mean we stay there. It means that we finally understand the message of that and raise our consciousness together and toward a very positive outcome in the last quarter of the year. So does this portend well for the election? I guess it depends on the truth you believe. But ultimately, if we don't understand the damage that lies can do, then we're never going to get out of the mess we're in. It's just going to be a constant chaos. And I think 2024 is giving us the space to actually rise above all of it, to have that inner leadership, to have that inner strength, to look towards something that's actually going to benefit society instead of trying to tear it down. We can no longer settle for the isms of life. We have to reject them out of hand because they have nothing to do with who we are as souls coming together and interacting in this earthly realm. It has nothing to do with it. It's not part of our fundamental truth. It's not part of working our way into a higher frequency of experience. There's no room for the nastiness that we've been witnessing to continue. In other words, is what I'm saying. That's that. So hopefully, we're right in this, and you can start to see this type of progression collectively and also within, getting us to the final quarter, the fourth quarter of the year, where something profound can manifest for all of us. So, something to think about. Now, I'm going to write this up. I'm going to have it on the blog over at Stepping Aside. That web address is imsteppingaside.com. If you forget, click on more below the video, and it's right there. You can see it. You can go there and see the reading. I'm going to keep a link to it over on the right side panel of the blog, up high towards, so that you can look at it from time to time if you want to, without having to go back to the video. But I'm going to write this up, and let's just see. We'll, at the end of next year, or at the end of this year, because today's 2024. At the end of this year, we'll look again and see how do we do. You know, and I'm going to probably, in fact, I think what I will do is each quarter remind people what the card was for each quarter, you know, for the current quarter, I guess, and see where we are. And then at the end, let's just talk about it then at that time. I think that, and see how we did here. But again, I think that our greatest fortune is found in our connection with one another, that higher connection of who we actually are, instead of getting caught up in the drama that's taking place now. And it looks like there's a progression here that's very, very realistic to expect, and so we'll see how it does. So it's going to be on the blog. I also will post it over on the other 3 places I'm on. I'm on Patreon. If you want to follow me over there, that'd be lovely. I'd really appreciate that. And then let's see, Medium, I write there as well. I publish the same stuff over there, and then also on Substack. So not sure about Substack for the future. I'm still thinking about that. I'm kind of not liking some of the stuff I'm hearing, but we'll see where that goes. You know, about the platform itself, I've been hearing some stuff, and we'll see where that goes. I may not stay there, but I'll let you know. I just have a problem with my writing being on a platform that I'm not sure about. So anyway, but we'll see, and I'll let you know. But at least you can kind of watch for stuff there. At minimum, just go to the blog. You'll see it there. And again, I'm just going to leave a link over there. I'll have a title on it, and also I'll have the not only the, well, I guess I'll just do a link to the post that I'll do, or yeah, we'll just say that. And then I may go ahead and do another, keep a separate link for each quarter as well that I'll do. So anyhow, we'll see how this goes though. So I guess that's it. I'm so glad that you're back again this year with me, and I appreciate that so much. If you haven't yet, click subscribe. I'd love you to do that. Give it a like if you would as well, and come back again on Thursday. That would be what, the 4th? Am I thinking about that right? Yeah, I think it's going to be the 4th. Let me look at the calendar here. Yep, Thursday the 4th, for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.